Awesome. All right. Well, so this is a new class. I've been wanting to teach this for a long time. Um, it's more of a tool-based class. I'm teaching your market insight, and then I'm also teaching dynamic forms. And the reason why I'm doing this is because in the 8.5 years that I've worked at Harry Norman, the most common question I always get is, how do I get contacts, leads, and also how do I get their email address? And there is no easy answer to this question. But the main thing I've always noticed is that if you give them something that they want, you will get their information. If they're a part of something, or if they opt in to be a part of something that you're doing, that's a great way to get a contact information for your CRM, your Constant Contact, your MailChimp, whatever you're using. If you provide a potential contact or client with something of value, you will receive their contact information. So that is the reason why I'm incorporating the Market Insight. I think the Market Insight is a great tool. The great thing about Harry Norman is we also have other tools that are just as great. We have a company newsletter that provides great information. We have a CRM that you can create event calendars that provide great events that are coming up in Atlanta for your contacts. We have a home evaluation tool. We have all these tools that our contacts do not know about. And what we need to do is show it to them and then prompt them to want to opt in. So to start off my class, I'm going to go over the basic tool that is Market Insight. And the reason why I'm doing this is there's a lot of tools. For instance, our Harry Norman blog, Market Insights one. There's tools that are in the back end of the CRM that people just don't know about and they haven't been using. So I'm going to be teaching classes along the way, like these tools classes, to get people more accustomed to the stuff that is in the CRM and to remind them that it's not a very scary program. It's not just going to do something. You have to do something with it. So to get started, to set up a standard Market Insight using the area that Harry Norman have saved in their website, you'll need to go up to Leads and you'll need to go to Contacts. All right. So as you can tell, today is really unique because I'm actually using the H&R trainer account, which is an agent account. You can obviously tell from my homepage that I am a terrible agent and have no listings. When you have contacts in your CRM and you click on the contact themselves, you will see your contact's profile and everything that is tied to that particular contact. In this scenario, you'll also realize there is a tab on your left side that says Market Insight Updates. Okay, so I'll move this window. A window will populate. And also you can go through the steps to set them up with a basic Market Insight for an area. So you could click on the drop down. You could choose Alpharetta, residential, bedrooms that are tied, maximum price. You can choose the report name, which could be your contact, their name themselves. And also I recommend the CC Leads agent so that when this sends out, you will receive a copy of it. That way you can actually respond to them on top of it just to touch base, and then you subscribe. It'll take a few seconds to upload or to translate onto the account. You can later refresh it. You'll notice that the Market Insight's there. Let's see if it's quickly done it already. Yep, for a contact. You're giving, I'm still signed account for the Marietta High School area because I always like to. It's also a great. So this is your Market Insight standard. I went to the contact, I went to Market Insight Updates, I created a basic Market Insight update. A lot of times when you do a basic one like this, the person will probably respond to you and say, hey, you know, I'm actually looking more in this particular area, which is a conversation starter, and you can narrow the Market Insight into a tighter area. And I'll show you how to do that now. So to make a more customized Market Insight, go up to Reports and click on Market Insights. see, I got a quick question. Market insight for a group as well, or a list, and I'll show that in just a second. All right. So when you go to reports and go to market insight, on the top right, you can set up zip codes, neighborhoods, subdivisions, areas. It's yes, we can draw from Georgia MLS, and I'll show you in this custom one where that looks like. Market insight, you can choose. So this is your custom market insight. I'll give up a market insight for my neighborhood. In the name field, I'm going to type in the name of my subdivision, which I've done recently, which is Lee's Crossing. And I'm going to come down to you can tell there's towns, zip codes, areas, custom neighborhoods, school districts, school institutions. I'm going to choose subdivision since I live in this neighborhood. And I'm going to type in, let's see. As you type it in, you'll notice that other areas will populate, but you'll see that Lee's Crossing in Cobb County has shown up, and I'm going to click on it. So that'll populate my subdivision in this market insight when I set someone up with it. There's many options to work with. I would recommend setting yourself up with market insights and subdivisions that you always send them to yourself and forward them to contacts and ask them if they would like this kind of report. Also, if you have a list set up, you can also set them up with a custom market insight that it will send out monthly. Now that I've created a custom market insight, I'm going to hit the Create Market Insight option. Especially custom ones, is that you can view the link that is and this is a great opportunity, unusual, for you to kind of make some changes to it. This data will look called the super theme because this count is a little bit different. Do I have some marketing? I recommend making several. Whenever you make a custom market insight, when you go back to your contacts, you'll notice that to your drop down. Select new market insight, and so doing some, let's see, I got to click the metadata to verify that I'm not pulling duplicates if I select multiple MLS. There's supposed to be the way our system works, it's supposed to be a deduping when it comes to this kind of data. I do not have the answer for the metadata, but you could reach out to Rita from IT and see if she can show you where that metadata is. But there is supposed to be a deduping, says Scott in IT. I think the only reason why something may duplicate is if they change the information, like an area, like if the information is actually different. Yeah, no, I mean, Amy, so I got a quick question. It says, can you send us a cheat sheet on the steps? If you go to my H&R Trainer YouTube channel, I have 2 videos. So I'll eventually make a manual forehand. No, not a problem, seriously. I did kind of move kind of quickly the lead capture and the forms. All right. Yes, this class will mark brand new recommendation. Add yourself as a contact, set yourself up with multiple market insights so that you can have it as a resource at your disposal. And I'll show you why that's so important. Okay, so here's the fun part. A dynamic form. To better explain what a dynamic form is. So if you go to content and page forms in many different ways, and I've done is this form for PR opportunity that Alex is using. I made this a little while ago, and what it does is this is the create landing page version of this. It's a split screen web page and you for PR, first name, email, content link, and also he's added some files and images. An example for you working with your marketing coordinator, have an image on your left side and then you have the form on your right. Now, I've always been taught that less information leads to more people filling in forms. Okay, so that's what we did here. We wanted more people to sign up, so we didn't put as much information on the form. I also have a CAPTCHA option, which if you want to turn it on, that's up to you. I personally am not a huge fan of CAPTCHA, but it's totally up to you whether you, I don't think you'll run into many bots with what you're doing. Another example is when you have a subdivision like Bob Freeman has at Grandview at Gateway. He has, when you click, let me get to the home page of this. Subdivision, the primary, he wants to create a VI notification goes to this list. If someone wants to learn more about a floor plan, let me click on the floor plan, and a new form is populated so that they can learn more about the action. If you're interested and you linked it to this link that I have that's a dynamic form, they could fill in this information and have their own market insight, because you would be able to see this, the email would come to you, and you could set them up with a market insight. You get that contact information, they get the resource they need, you have a new lead, because obviously they're interested in something in the market. Okay, so these are the examples that I wanted to show, but now I want to go into how do I make a market insight. Okay, to make a market insight, you'll need to go back to your home page of your CRM, and at the top where it says content, dynamic forms analysis. Once again, I've been focusing on the items that I've got a market in up for my monthly news, their contact information from these forms so that you can add them to the newsletter, or you can have them directly go straight to the newsletter and have it come out on your behalf because they've become your lead. That's what's so neat about this. And I hope by the end of this class, everyone will at least consider creating a dynamic form. I want everyone to do a market insight for themselves so they can see what comes to them. And then lastly, I want them to try creating a dynamic form and see the value in it. I'm going to start off by creating a new form. Okay. So say for instance, link to the individuals, or I have an iPad with me and say, hey, you know, click on this link and you'll join a list to learn more about this listing. Or you did a e-card about a new listing coming out and you sent it with a link, this link attached. So I'm going to put in new listing 1234 Easy Street. All right. So the next more instead of submit, and I want to receive an email address whenever it goes out, and I want to be notified. So I'm going to whenever someone fills in this form, I'm going to receive an email, and I'm going to know that they've filled this out. Okay. Next, this drop down, select marketing list. So the people who fill out this form come to inquire about this listing. I want them to be put into a list that I created that says agent list. So I'm going to click on this agent list that I created. I created the marketing list by going to marketing, going to list, and create list. Or I could have automatically put them in the company newsletter. So that scenario, if I sent a quick screenshot of the newsletter and said, hey, if you would like to receive my newsletter, this is prompting them to fill out a form to be a part of the newsletter. Here I'm not a robot, so I choose. It can be you're inquiring about 1234 Easy Street. Let's see. Drew will reach out to you soon about this incredible home. Of course, you'll probably have a way better and written response to them, but this would be it's the page that shows up after they've completed the form. Next is your form instructions, which is this is where you're telling them how they should fill in this form, or that they should fill in this form. Please fill in the information below completely to receive more information, or I mean more, I don't know, emails about this listing. You know, basic instructions on how to fill in this form. All right, so now we're at the meat and potatoes. You're to add field because you can do most items in your text field option. Text area is when you want them to write information like instructions or comments. If you have check boxes, it's when you have multiple choices. So if, for instance, if you're sending a email to someone and say they're interested, asking if they're interested in a certain areas of Atlanta, you can put like Buckhead, Sandy Springs, Vining, Smyrna as checkbox, and all they would do is click on the check that they're interested in that area. But for this first scenario, I'm going to put in first name. I'm going to require that they put in their first name. So I think y'all are starting to get the idea of how this form populates. I'm going to put another text field. I'm going to put last name, and I'm going to require that they fill it in. And lastly, the most important text field, email address. And I check email. So now I've created a basic form for a new listing contact base, and I created a new form. Recommendation, make several of them. Make one for social media. Make one for market insight, newsletter. Give yourself different options on how this form is going to be utilized, because you're giving them a tool that you want them to opt in and be a part of. Another great feature on this is that you can find out who submitted the form. When you click on the form submission under actions, you'll receive a list of all the people who have filled in the form in a time frame as well, which is really cool. You can also export your submissions so you can have a spreadsheet of the people who filled in the form. Do I have any questions about, let's see, what did it say? Don't use, oh yeah, sorry, did I not click on required? Yes, Amy, good catch. Yeah, I should have clicked here. I'll go back and edit my form and put required. That's a great way how to do at this point. The form to my Facebook page. I need to host it on a URL, on a website, okay? Because I need to have that web address to use on my social media, to use in my emails, to put as links. So to do this, you're going to go to content and you're going to go to pages, okay? Like I told you in the beginning, there's two different types of web pages you can create to host your dynamic form. You can have one like this, not a problem, but it puts the form, where is it? There is your side-by-side, where you have the form on the right side and you can put a graphic on the left, and that is your create a landing page option. Okay, so I'm going to do a quick example of the create landing page. The CMS is pretty straightforward. It puts the form in the middle, but the landing page is really interesting. I actually like it a lot. And I'm going to name my path will be just that, 1, 2, 3, 4, Easy Street. Okay, right off the bat, see this great little drop down and put the form onto the page. I'm going to click on the drop down, and you'll see at the bottom, my newest one I've added was new listing 1234 Easy Street. I click on that. Now the form I just created is going to populate on the right side of the page. As you scroll down, this looks like most website build page nader sent me in my goal flyer. I have one from my Mia folder. That's what I'm going to do. Or, I mean, honestly, you could incorporate your little e-cards from Mia. I'm going to select this one right here for the Battle Creek, and I'm going to add it. which will scale. So I've created, but I have incorporated the form. See? And obviously, if you create more forms, more will be on this list. I'm going to say create. And now my URL is this right here at the end of, and so this is the URL at the top from my form. Does that make sense? Just making sure. I created a blank page in content page that you have on your website. You can go nothing crazy. I'm going to go from this class is to pull in contacts. You can use it on LinkedIn. You can use it on Facebook. You can use it in your CRM designs. Let me show you a quick, I'm going to do this one more time. Let me see, I got a quick question. So all I have to do is just post the link in Facebook, right? And the form, exactly. It's a link. It's a legitimate link. And you can use it in any manner that you'd like. Another way that I really like, so I've had a few agents use this recently, under marketing, I'm going to go to email content because I'm going to be making a design in the CRM, which if you've come to my CRM class before, you kind of know how I work this. This is very simple. I took a screenshot of the market insight that I had signed myself up for. I inserted the image into this CRM design and I put a call to action at the top. Click on the image below to receive your custom market insight. Nothing crazy. It's just a screenshot. Image. They'll fill in the form. See? So this form is the link on my CRM for this email that I sent out. It's a call to action. So you're answering a question, you're starting a conversation, create a brand, and say, how about this? Check out my, when they confirm, I want to be notified. Once again, I should have copied the stuff from before, but that's okay. Form confirmation, thank you. Thank you for your interest in my Harry Norman newsletter. Information for the form is please fill in the information below to receive my custom newsletter. I'm typing crazy. Okay. If you want to, you can go ahead and assign them to the company newsletter, which will have your, but all you need for here, once again, is first name, text field again. I'm going to require the first name, required, text field, email, address. And lastly, if I want to add a text area frame factors, and you don't have to make it required. It can just be something if someone wants to contribute, it might help you if you're creating a different type of newsletter. And then I will create the, so now I have a form newsletter, but they also become what a page that it coincides, pages / newsletter form. Say I have a hero image. I don't know if I have anything I can grab easily. You know, I might skip that, but if so, of the news, once again, here's your content block to add an image. Do I have anything I can use right now? I don't think I do. In the center of the web page, and I want to see what this design looks like. So there you go. So now this is, so they can determine what you're going to name the list, was showing you in that design. If you did more of a, let me go to email content. I'll show you an example of some way of pulling in an area. If you did, I want to make sure, I know it's a little bit more advanced in dynamic forms, call to actions to bring I incorporate and you want them to opt into more of your content, it's a great way to kind of hone in and grab that contact for other items of marketing. Um, Test it out, try some new forms, and have fun with it. A lot of people don't know this exists. It's great.